I'm Shanice.
Hi, I'm Clement.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Leah, and this is
ZULA ChickChats.
So today we'll be talking about romantic versus practical boyfriend. So let's just start off with defining what is romantic versus practical in a relationship.
Romantic boyfriends or a romantic partner is someone who will go out of his or her way to do something special for you. Could be like what we usually associate like buying flowers is like something special. Picking someone up from anywhere they are when it's kind of out of the way, example. Practical would be like back to the flowers thing. I why buy flowers? Flowers so waste money.
Romantic is like spontaneous. Oh, I cannot like my eyes off of you. We need to go on a holiday now. Then after that, like pull you to the airport, fly off to some unknown country.
Do you ever feel like the reference for being romantic is taken from movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So like guys will be like watch this movie, like, yeah, I should do that. Or girls will be like, hey, why you don't do that?
Like all
for
the
me?
K-dramas lah, set the bar very high.
Yeah, maybe they ruined it. I think the most like standard one is the guitar outside the.
Oh, yeah,
but we can't do that in Singapore because we
yeah.
live like 19th floor or something.
Yeah.
You
So
sing,
like
sing louder.
19 floors, yeah.
Singing is a hack actually. If you can sing,
Yeah,
you
actually.
can play guitar or any musical instrument, you really got like advantage on like how to be romantic.
You don't even have to be very good at guitar. You need like 4 chords and like 1 song.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I'm gonna play 28 songs using the exact same 4 chords.
Okay, but talking about practical though,
Yeah.
how would you define the extreme end of practical?
For example, the guy could be, why must go and watch movie? At home can...
Oh.
Can download.
Yeah, download.
So to the guys, will you guys consider yourselves a more romantic or practical boyfriend? And for Shanice and I, would it be like, do you have a preference towards what kind of boyfriend we date?
I have my practical moments, but if I really am out to like impress or make the girl happy, right, then I have a tendency to not be very practical lah and lean more towards like the romantic kind of thing. Like Valentine's Day this year, all the fried chicken bouquets were going viral, right? Like it was damn expensive, like $60 for one like 3-4 piece meal. Like, I can do that. So I just went to KFC and bought like 2 buckets. Then I just own some make and I was making in the office, then got people like, wow, so sweet.
Yeah.
Actually it's cost cheaper than buying the outside one. Then you get more chicken for more. Plus they give chili sauce.
I think I'm quite practical. Like I think this was probably about 1 month in. We will always go watch movie dinner. After a while quite sian then she wanted to go say wanted to surprise her. I say okay, we'll meet on this day.
Brought her there. I say you wait downstairs.
So after a while, like 20 minutes in, right, I just asked, can you just come up and help because I can't set up the ground sheet. It kept flying, so I need someone else to hold.
That's quite practical actually, asking her to come up.
Yeah, because I was like, this is stupid.
So actually it's both romantic and practical.
The intention I think was romantic.
intention
I was trying
was
to,
romantic.
But after a while, I just realized like this is not okay. This is
Yeah.
stupid.
I don't have a preference, but I tend to go towards a more practical like partner, and I myself being a practical partner as well in a relationship. Like, I don't feel that it's necessary to like go out of the way to buy me flowers or pick me up wherever I am or whatever. I mean it's nice, but I don't expect it out of anybody lah. Yeah, so it's very funny. Like the other day I was just talking to like my boyfriend, and then I showed him something like, hey, this one like quite cool. Then he's like, yeah, but too bad I'm not like that. Then I was just like, yeah.
So like I feel the biggest misconception people have about being romantic, right, is that it has to be those very grand, extravagant gestures. But actually it's not necessary. It's more like the thought that counts.
Yeah.
So it could be very simple things like my boyfriend surprising me like to pick me up. I didn't expect that.
Oh yeah.
Nothing, you know what I mean? Like he goes out of his way. Simple as that. Or like even once his car was stuck in the workshop for like a week, he actually bothered to come all the way from Kovan all the way to like Ansiang to have lunch with me. And then he went back public transport. And that to me, it's not very expensive. It's not very like, oh, must plan until very elaborate.
But it's more
a
romantic
gesture
because you
that
take
counts.
public transport. You take Grab then less
Also-
romantic, huh?
Suppose lah, but it's the
Right.
thought that counts. It's still like, hey, out of your way leh.
You should have walked.
Get out
Yeah,
of
sure.
your way.
Yeah, right.
walk in
Like,
the
give you a
rain.
prize already,
In the
yeah.
rain.
Question is, why do you think then girls prefer to date romantic or practical boyfriends? So like the pros and cons of each.
I don't think girls really have a particular preference.
I think some girls yes
it?
because okay, some girls' preference is like receiving gifts. For example, love
Oh.
language. This is where the romantic versus practical part comes in, I feel. Because if you're romantic, you're probably higher on the acts of service as well as giving gifts spectrum of love language.
Okay.
But for example, practicality is more like quality time.
And I feel
Yeah.
that it affects somewhat in this day and age, right? It's because of social media.
Oh my god, I was gonna say the same thing. Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's like Instagram. Go and watch the TSL video where Xenia did the short film and then the guy on the phone one.
time.
Then she was like,
Actually, can you do it one more time? I want an IG story.
Again?
Oh.
that kind of thing. Girls are like that. Yeah, so the Instagram expectation sets it so high, right? That's why some girls really prefer to have a romantic partner or guys to be romantic towards them because they can show it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Cons of romantic is that expensive.
Yeah, oh my god.
And like sometimes when you have no element of practicality in you, you can like end up like wiping out like quite a significant sum of money.
I was gonna say that romantic boyfriends, well, like some girls prefer them, right? I think it sets the expectation for their relationship very high. Yeah, especially if your romantic part of you is very, very often. But then that's all about like practicality, like practical boyfriends, like pros and cons.
Pros of course is like long-term stability, like you know this guy he'll make the most logical decisions. But cons of course is like I feel like I'm dating a wooden block, that kind of thing.
No, I was say it's like I will just think the guy, do you even love me? Like what
I
the hell?
agree. I agree with what Nick says because about how I feel like I'm dating a wooden block because I think I'm quite practical, right? But then at the start I would try to do stuff like that just to show interest. But maybe like after like 2-3 months, I'm not gonna do all that stuff because I think it's like a bit unnecessary at that point in time.
By right, when you're dating someone, like not together yet but dating, you shouldn't like decide to be together with this person because this person is romantic. It's more like who the person is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's my
yeah.
point. Like
Yeah.
I don't know whether I don't feel like the romance or practical, like whether romantic or practical is a deal breaker, like or decision.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it shouldn't be a deal breaker. Lah.
Yeah.
So do you think this romantic or practical preference, right, changes with age?
I guess I played into that expectation of media also like of romantic gestures and you have to be like that to get a girl. Which when I was younger, as I say, I kind of thought that was true. But then now I really don't think that is necessary.
I don't know. When I was younger, I always thought like, oh, it'll be just be cool in a relationship. It's like that stereotype where if you don't act interested, then the girl will like you kind of thing. But I feel
Bad
like
boy.
Oh yeah,
Right.
it's a bad boy stereotype.
yeah, but then now I feel like it's more fun to be in a relationship that there's an effort to be romantic lah. Cause like at the end of the day, to me practicality is really like when it's like the advantage is like money lah or like time or whatever. But then all that like money in the end, then your relationship is just like that instead of like
Actually, I think for me, right, like when I was younger, I think what I thought of romantic versus now what I think is romantic is very different lah. What I think is romantic now is more of like we like chilling, right? Then my room very messy. Then he like, hey, I help you pack your stuff, or like, hey, I help you do laundry or something like that, right? Oh, very romantic this kind of thing. Like I would just think.
oh actually yeah,
it's-
then okay
that is very
I
romantic,
agree.
Yeah. Or like maybe like he pack you a meal in the morning, that kind of thing, rather than he bring you to expensive restaurant, that kind of thing. It's like the expectation last time is like more so of the I need expensive gestures to
Right.
make it very romantic. I won't see like you tapao food for me as romantic, you know what I mean? But now I'm like, because I got no time, you tapao food for me, oh my god, that kind of thing.
That I classify as romantic, right, are gestures that make me basically see that I can definitely spend the rest of my life with this person, like help clean the house, like food, because these are things that as a husband or wife you should be able to do for each other. Because like I was living in Dubai, he came over and then he like cleaned my kitchen for me.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like a
It's like
practical boyfriend?
sweet.
It's
No,
practical.
it's practical,
Okay.
but
See,
the thought
so-
behind that gesture is romantic because it's out of his way. It's not even his apartment. He bothered to clean for me.
So actually all
Right.
girls want romantic and practical.
Practical.
Like a
Oh,
mix of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I think the conclusion of this point, right, is just that we have the age thing, right, has made us realize that being romantic, right, is more about the thought behind the gesture.
Yes.
Correct.
And not like how much money, how
Yeah.
big it is, how
Yeah.
grand.
I think it's very important to also know like what your partner appreciates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last question then is how to manage your romantic expectations when it comes to like dating or like with your partner.
I think like romance, right, you don't expect. Like always don't expect.
True.
So that-
that.
So that whatever you get
True
right
that.
is a bonus.
There's always this
Expectation,
that on a special occasion it'll be a little bit more than what you're used to on a
Yeah.
normal date, for example. But I think you don't expect to the point of like your romantic fantasy
Like
in a
helicopter.
movie, Christian Grey level, that kind of thing. I think that is a very warped idea of what
It's
romanticism is.
fiction, lah. It's not
Yeah.
not good.
Like communication.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
Sometimes it's hard to sort of sense this sort of thing, and I think I'm quite bad at that. That's why I struggle with the whole communication aspect.
Yeah.
And sometimes that if she were to expect something and I don't know that she's expecting something, or but at least if I know that she is expecting something, then I would definitely try to put in more effort lah.
Yeah. In my case, right, sometimes not that I expect something on my boyfriend, but I thought that it's gonna be a certain way lah. But then turns out it wasn't. I just like, why like that kind of thing. So I will at least ask and be like, oh, why like
How can I buy me $3,000 handbag?
Excuse me, don't need
$3,000 only,
$3,000
sia.
handbag.
I think this kind of thing is more like you go along, then you realize whether how different both of you are. Like how you mentioned just now, like the love language. It really matters whether both of you understand each other's love language before you can decide to be romantic. For example,
Right.
if like your love language is acts of giving, so you keep buying her gifts, but that's not hers. Hers is more like time. So you giving me gifts, but you never spend time with me.
Doesn't
It's
make
not
sense at all.
romantic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. I agree.
Then after that, it will be then bad for the guy also, because like it will seem as though the girl doesn't appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think both of you need to really like know
Be in
whether
sync.
you're on the same page or not, and
Yeah.
then communicate or like really.
Then we discussed romantic versus practical partners, and I think the general consensus is that it's very important to have a balance between the two, because two extremes are no good lah.
Yeah. So if you guys have any stories about whether it's a romantic or practical boyfriend, feel free to leave it in the comments and also let us know what else to talk about next time.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.